Hey, welcome back, y'all. Hope everybody's Sunday is going well. It is Super Bowl Sunday. Go Chiefs. I don't even watch football, but I gotta root for somebody, and I'm praying that everybody's brains are not polluted by Taylor Swift. That is all I've got on that subject. Anywho, moving on. So, it was a video. Dana White, basically. It was a short. I don't know who I think. I don't even know who Dana White is. Is he the UFC guy? I think he's a UFC guy. Or he might be the podcaster. I don't know. It was some dude with a mullet and a ball cap and another ball guy. And basically, here's how the conversation went, because I got the video posted on Facebook and it got a comment. And this is why we're here. I'm going to tell you what the video was about, and then I'm going to tell you what the comment was. So anyway. So basically, the guy was saying that their sponsor, Peloton bicycles, riding a gym type of things, they had sponsored an episode of his, and he was basically having a conversation with RFK, right? And then later on, Peloton calls up that podcaster and says that to remove the episode because they don't like RFK. And he was telling this to said ball guy. And the ball guy, I think that's Dina, I don't know. Anyway, he says, hey guys, get all the Pelotons out of my gym. Snap. So, don't mess with that guy. Anyway, right? So, Peloton got popped on the head. Foo-foo, rabbit. Very of good nature, said fuck off. Anywho, so anywho, in the comments later on in the morning, I just happened to look at my notifications on Facebook randomly throughout the day. I don't literally doom scroll on there. And one of my friends from high school, I've known her my whole life pretty much, and I was at her wedding even. Anyway, she said something like I have problems with RFK. Delete comment. Yeah, that's my silent way of saying I really don't give a fucking rat's ass what your problem is. That's nice. You want Kool-Aid and a cookie? So, spasmodic dysphonia. I'm probably saying it wrong again. I have this fucking condition. I can never remember what it's called. I don't have it in the severity that RFK does. This is a permanent fixture. Miley Cyrus's version of it is a permanent fixture. Mine comes and goes. And mine, like, this is like what my natural voice normally is. Now, depending on the mood and the flexion of the tone or the sarcasm or something of that nature, yeah, it vary. I know this. And I have to tighten my vocal cords in certain settings so that I am better understood. So, like, when I'm on the phone, I have a tendency to almost sing tighten the vocal cords in order to get the pitch higher so that it's more audible on phones. Otherwise, I'm constantly repeating myself. And I've had this, the onset of it come in varying different times in my life. And I've kind of looked back on the episodes. So most of it, and every time that it's happened, whether I smoke or not. However, when I picked up the vaping, the episodes disappeared. The worst episode that I had was when I had quit cold turkey, and my daughter had sent me a video, and I don't even know where it is. I saved it. because I noticed the voice. It wasn't had anything to do with, you know, me being on video. It was basically the audio. And you could hear it. It was raspy. It was like I was struggling. It was almost like a squeak rasp, right? And I quit smoking. I'd been quit for several months at that point. So it wasn't like it was an initial like trauma to my throat dependent on, you know, cigarettes, whatever. So in any case, I was reading comments one day when I was watching a video where they were discussing, you know, RFK and yada, yada, yada. And it was basically a Democrat trying to be diplomatic and asking people's opinions of it. Well, he has a very Democratic following and a lot of TDS followers, so he was getting very biased opinions. There was only a few in there that were actually kind of commenting any kind of sense, and he wasn't, I don't think, really perceptive to what they were saying. But there was also one nut job that says he sounds like he's dying, not understanding that it is a medical condition that he is suffering from, right? And they're yeah, like you want that guy in charge of our health in this country. Yeah, arrogant, ignorant, superficial opinions that have no ground or, you know, substantiality whatsoever. You know what I mean? So I was like, God, I just want to reach through there and punch them in the face. You can get some sense. Look up the condition. So what is wrong with his voice? It's a neurological condition, actually. It's basically there's a signaling element. There's a block in his throat where the sensory thing, that the nerves in his voice box are not cooperating. I don't know the whole mechanism, but that's what it is. I've experienced it on more than one occasion in my life. I struggle with it on occasion, depending on how stressed I am. Yada, yada. And yes, I am very sensitive to stress. Very. Very, very. And it all comes from my childbirth. I was breech. I had a very traumatic birth. All the stress chemicals that were circulating throughout my mother's body were basically circulating through me also. And by the time I was born, I was very low oxygen. He had tried to turn me, and I went left arm first, which automatically put us into C-section status. And I was born with, you know, a very hypervigilant neurodivergency. And I've been that way for more than half of my life. And it's taken a lot of work, a lot of therapy, and a lot of self-reflection and or, you know, shadow work amongst my childhood, because I was a mean, rotten kid. I was angry all the time, temperamental, incorrigible. My mother had to run the vacuum cleaner under my crib to pacify me so I would go to sleep, because I needed the white noise. A lot of different things. And then, of course, in my teens, you know, even after I, you know, started smoking, the smoking kind of repressed the anger, which that was a good thing, you know. But my mom didn't understand where, you know, the reasons why. Of course, puberty did not help this condition whatsoever. And so I started smoking when I was about 11 years old, and it helped a lot of the weird, you know, hypersensitivity, the, you know, the OCD, you know, the you know, a lot of the different little surface characteristics of, you know, just neurodivergence. Of course, doctors dismissed her because I was a girl. You know, she went to the doctor and said, something wrong with this kid. And he's like, it's just a phase. So I ended up growing up and suffering even into adulthood with this frustrated, it's not a mental illness. It's just a, you know, that little bit of dysfunction in my brain caused from traumatic birth. So after realizing all of it, I was able to buy the appropriate books. I was able to work through all of this different stuff and recognize all of my deficiencies that kind of put me in situations like being abused by a narcissist more than once. Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's like, what am I doing wrong? You know, why do they keep doing this to me? So the funny thing is that RFK is not the only person with this throat condition. Yeah, Miley Cyrus, you know, Selma Blair, but Selma Blair also has MS, and it's kind of one of those surface symptoms of MS, because MS is neurological. Parkinson's, it can affect Parkinson's, you know, people, because it is neurological. But yeah, there's a laundry list of people, celebrities, who have this condition. Just RFK's is really kind of severe. I don't think he's always talked like that. I think it was an onset. Came on later. So anyway, a lot of people don't understand what RFK is actually, what his purpose is, and why he is so, you know, probably the best candidate to be NHS in all respects. You know, he has often spoke out about the misguided and lack of transparency amongst most of the government agencies that deal with not only the production of the jabs, but the literature supporting the jabs, the side effects of the jabs, and the like. And of course, the jab schedule for children. And he's looked into it, and all he's desiring is the transparency and or some kind of scientific or rational reasons why, you know, these children are getting certain jabs at certain times, when it just, those, why? For example, why are you giving a Hep B shot to a baby that's not even 7 hours old? Why? Even me, I mean, I know what it is. I didn't get mine until I was like 37 in the military. And if I had still been a civilian, I don't think I would have had gotten one at all. Okay? Yeah, and I had to go through the sequence twice to get it to titer. Yeah, same thing with anthrax. Didn't get that until I was 37. That one only took once. There was not a cycle. It wasn't like I had to get exposed to it, you know, and then come back in like 3 months and get another one, and then 3 months and get another one, and then wait 6 months and get the last one. 4 shots, I think, is what it was. And yeah, so it took like 2 years for it to titer. Because my immune system was like fucking killing it off, and it wasn't even antibody. It was just like piss it out, you know, that kind of thing. Anyway, so it's kind of, you know, kind of silly in that respect. You know, there's a lot of them. God knows what they jabbed me with. I had so many. About the only thing that I was ever exempt from was because I have a penicillin allergy, was a hemoglobin. But everything else was like free game. You know, like a pincushion. Anywho. So yeah, I understand his concerns in that regard. There's a lack of transparency when it comes to our food manufacturing. There's a lot of chemicals in our food that do not need to be there. There's ingredients. I did a video the other day. They need 3 types of sugar in 1 fucking cracker. Why? 1 ain't enough. What are we doing here? You know, that kind of thing. Just, yeah. So, he is not the only one speaking out about this. There is a nutrition coalition that has the support of many practitioners. One of them is basically, he does adolescent metabolism, kind of neuroscience type of thing. And he's all encompassing. I'm pretty sure he's got like 5 specialties. Dr. Lustig. He's the guy who basically spoke out about sugar and high fructose corn syrup, and knows the whole science between ghrelin and leptin deficiency and shit like that. He's brought a lot of kids back into the state of normalcy, having, they were obese, like 90-pound 5-year-olds. And he's gotten them to grow up to be normal, because they had these insatiable appetites that just didn't shut off. Is that, something to do with the mother? There's also a medical condition. One of the guys I used to work with, he used to, they were like, what is it? Special. They had this weird thing where they would like eat and eat and eat. They'd eat everything, kind of thing. They had locks on the refrigerator. They were that bad. And anyway, I don't know what that condition is called, but anyway, so these doctors like Dr. Lustig and Nina Teicholz, who is the author of The Big Fat Surprise, she's on the Nutrition Coalition. Dr. Berry's affiliated with it. Dr. Berg and Dr. Brewer and a lot of the YouTube, Dr. Livinggood, they're all pretty much, correspondents. Not so much members, but supporters of it. And just a select few where they've basically started the thing where, like, restaurants especially, they have this, thing on their door where they are part of that Nutrition Coalition, and they have signs on their doors, all natural ingredients. So they're not using margarines and seed oils and things of that nature in their preparations and their cooking methods. There's very few restaurants with that little emblem on there. But that was a start, because a lot of people eat out now. So with that on the door, that lets the public know that everything that they are consuming is all natural and nothing nefarious in the ingredients, okay? And they've also been speaking up, to Congress and the Senate and, whatnot, in the attempts of trying to get the transparency to disclose a lot of the health effect information. I mean, a lot of these products that we get nationwide, even here, I'm in Tennessee, and it says, according to yada, 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 and it's all started from California, saying this product contains, yada, 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 and all of that was mandated out of California, but, contains products that cause cancer. So basically, they're telling you that whatever you're consuming is detrimental to your health, but they're not telling you what ingredients are the worst. That kind of thing. There's no transparency. And there's a lot of ingredients that, one, don't need to be there, two, or could be substituted out with something that doesn't have that issue. Okay? This is what RFK is supporting. Fix the health of the American population, because it is correlating with the rise in cancer and heart disease and diabetes and non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which is it's showing up in children where they're having, fatty liver and cirrhosis because of the high fructose corn syrup. I mean, the list is just endless of all the crazy stuff. Now, I get scrutinized because I vape. Yes, I do. I've got, I don't know, maybe 10 chemicals compared to 5,000 in a cigarette. That was my trade-off to keep my voice box from spazzing out like RFK. Because once I started this, my voice came back. And my ability to deal with stress, everything leveled out. I wasn't like walking around like a basket case. Everybody handles stress different. I'm very sensitive to it. So, in any case, so her comment earlier, that's what pretty much inspired this rant. And it does frustrate me. These are things that frustrate me. It's like people hate the guy and they don't even know why. And what he's trying to do is to improve your quality of life and health. Why do you hate him? Do you like being sick? Do you like having the looming thought of I'm going to get cancer hovering over your head because of the food you eat? I mean, is what he's doing so bad? I don't get it. His concerns about the jab they're valid. Some of these concerns are really valid. What's in them? What are the side effects? What are the chemical construction? Reevaluation of the schedule. Because some of it is kind of like, yeah, that's overkill. Maybe we need to redesign some. Why are you, yeah, there's a lot of questions, a lot of concerns, and a lot of discrepancies, and a lot of dysregulation and or hyperregulation within the bureaucratic elements of these organizations that are funded by our government. Now you also got that, that weird fear of the insider trading peoples, oh God, he's going to stifle my, my investments. They're not going to grow. Yeah, there's a greed element in there. We got to nip that in the bud. So many factors. But the reasons why people don't like him, is it their investments that are going to suffer? No. Congress might suffer, but not general population ain't going to suffer. If anything, their lives are going to improve in some degree. There's a lot of issues within our medical system that are non-disclosed. Everything is like hush-hush. Why are they hush-hush? Because they don't want you to know the truth. And that's the problem. That is a problem across the board. I mean, they give you this long, crazy tree-killing pamphlet when you get any kind of medication from a pharmaceutical company and or over-the-counter stuff, and it is your responsibility to read the fine print. But some of this stuff, it does not identify some of the caustic chemicals that are actually inside the product that are not indicated. It's like, this particular product is known to cause cancer elsewhere, but they're not going to identify it in the medication that the doctor prescribed. You know what I'm saying? There's an interesting video. It's Mr. Ballin put out in regards to an individual who had taken a pharmaceutical and he ended up paralyzed. It's called Floxed. And there's varying degrees. Some people actually, it occurs and then they get over it. And then out of some percentage, it occurs and it gets worse. It takes over their entire body. So now this kid who took this stuff for like the flu is now literally quadriplegic, feeding tube, waiting to die. Because it took over, it affected his entire body. That kind of thing. Yeah, I don't think that stuff should be, I don't care what the percentage of the fucking side effect is. If it's going to end up doing that to anybody, it should not be approved. Period. My opinion. That's fucking crazy. After seeing that, oh my God, I'll be like, what have I taken that I know that it's safe? Yeah, we'll just stick to those 6. And if I need something else, no, I might find a natural remedy somewhere. Because I don't trust it. But the person that had said, what's wrong with his voice? Someone who sounds like that being in charge of the NHS, that's superficial fucking argument. They actually have no idea what the importance of his argument really is, and the Senate going off on him in regards to some of the things he's said, yeah, he's got a vital concern, and I agree that there needs to be a critical audit, analysis, and investigation into some of these organizations who produce these drugs, as far as the efficacy and or reasoning behind some of the schedules, the side effect, the chemical construction, and the overall longevity, because some of these things like tetanus you need to get every 10 years. I get that every 10 years. I'm a tetanus supporter. I'm not a fan of the flu shot. Don't get that one. I don't. You can do whatever the hell you want to do. But it just goes for saying. I mean, there's certain things that I have faith in that actually work and that are necessary because of their curability is, it's necessary to have. And I do believe that there's some things that are administered, as far as vaccinations go for children, age appropriateness. If your kid's going into daycare, yeah, you probably want to get them with a bunch of other kids that you don't know who the fuck they are. Probably a good idea, right? If you're going to homeschool your kids, yeah, you should have the option. Your kids ain't going into daycare and they're not going to be exposed to, other kids. Yeah, you're stifling their immunity, as far as their immune systems are going, because they're not being exposed to any of this stuff. But there are some things that are kind of critical. Measles, probably a good idea to get a vaccination for that. Smallpox, yeah, that's another one. That one's a little tricky. Yeah, I had that one too. But yeah, there's some that, depending on where you're at in the world, probably a good idea to have it. Other ones, yeah, it's probably a little overkill and you're a little paranoid, maybe, depends. And I think it all should be left up to the parents also, because I know a lot of unvaccinated children and they're just fine. Luck was on their side. They're just fine. And then I know a lot of vaccinated children who, God, they're sick every other week. It's like, what did it do? Nothing. Did it even do anything? Your child is like in and out of a hospital. And this kid who didn't have a vaccine, he's fine. Doesn't make any sense. Maybe it's the food they're eating. Because most of the uns their parents are like organic, natural food hippies. Might have something to do with it. Might be an interaction. I don't know. I'm just a novice, kind of like throwing stones out there to, make you think. But yeah, this is the stuff that he's fighting against. This is the stuff that he's wanting to improve America's health by disclosing all of the discrepancies within all of this documentation that is not being disclosed to the general public. There is a very ugly situation regarding transparency, and it's kind of like, they're children. We can't tell them. They're not old enough to know kind of attitude from our government officials toward us as American adults and our children, for that matter. Yeah. So, if you don't understand any of that, probably want to look it up, but don't discredit somebody because they have a weird sounding voice. That doesn't mean their brain ain't working. It means their voice box got like a disconnect. It's not cooperating with the brain. But that doesn't mean the brain don't work. They ain't thinking right. Anyway, I gotta go. Happy football day. Peace out.